Each player has a deck consisting of 30 cards, representing their character's tools and traits. The cards in your hand can be used in two general ways: playing and committing. To play a card, pay its resource cost, put it into play, and resolve its effects. Asset cards represent things your character has. When you play an asset, its effects persist as long as the card remains in play. For example, if I play the baseball bat, I literally equip a baseball bat. As long as the asset remains equipped, I can use it as a weapon to fight enemies. If asset cards are things you have, event cards are things you do. When you play an event, its effect is resolved once and the card is discarded. Take the card Dynamite Blast, which says choose either your location or a connected location. Deal 3 damage to each enemy and player in that location. This effect only resolves once, as the card represents the act of throwing dynamite into a room. The second way to use the cards in your hand is to commit them to skill tests. I covered how skill tests work in an earlier video linked below, but committing basically means sacrificing a card to get a temporary bonus for a single test. Any card in your hand can be committed, but there is a special skill card type called a skill. Skill cards have no play cost because they can only be committed to tests, and usually have an additional effect if the test is successful. For an example, this skill card is called Guts. When committed to a skill test, it gives you a +2 to your willpower. And if the test that this card is committed to is successful, you draw a card. Most of the cards in your deck do something positive, whether they increase your stats or deal damage to enemies. But the investigators are human and carry with them history and trauma. So every player's deck also includes 2 weakness cards, with negative effects that must be resolved if you draw them. One of these weaknesses is specific to your character and their story, while the other weakness is randomly added when you create your deck. If I draw the card Amnesia, it has the keyword Revelation, which means I have to resolve this effect as soon as I see this card, i.e. draw it from my deck. The effect of the card Amnesia is I have to choose and discard all but 1 card from my hand. But that's generally the majority of the cards you encounter from your own deck. You have assets, events, skills, and weaknesses that all have different effects on gameplay.